It's really good to see. Watching you stumble on that, you had to take a tremendous beating during that series.
I was really lucky. Physically, I never got hurt.
Welcome back to Hollywood Bulletin, where behind every smile in Hollywood lies a story you were never supposed to hear. And today, we're uncovering the heartbreaking truth behind the sitcom the world thought was pure joy, Gilligan's Island. For decades, audiences saw it as a paradise of laughter and light-hearted adventure. But for the people who lived it, it was a beautiful curse. A place where dreams of stardom turned into a lifetime of regret. It all began with hope, under the bright studio lights that promised fame and immortality. But those same lights would one day burn them all. Behind every laugh track were exhausted eyes, and behind every joke was someone breaking quietly. Bob Denver, the man who became America's fool, once believed the role of Gilligan would be a small, funny step toward real acting. But the day he put on that sailor hat, his fate was sealed. For the rest of his life, people didn't see Bob Denver. They saw Gilligan, the bumbling, clumsy goof who could never be taken seriously again. He longed for respect, for real roles, but Hollywood had no room for the man behind the red shirt. "That role made me famous, and it killed me too," he once whispered. And he wasn't alone in that pain. Tina Louise, who played Ginger Grant, had left Broadway for what she thought would be her breakout moment, but instead, it became her prison. The next Marilyn, they called her, the goddess of glamour. But beneath the shimmer and the smile, she was trapped inside an image she could never escape. She wanted to act, to be taken seriously. But every director saw only the red hair, the lips, the dress. "They didn't want me," she said softly. "They wanted Ginger." And so Tina Louise began rejecting her famous name, realizing that the beauty that made her famous had stolen her future. Then there was Dawn Wells, the beloved Mary Ann, who found herself trapped in gingham shorts, and an image she never chose. Those outfits, the tied crop tops, the tiny shorts, were not her decision, but the studio's way of creating a cute contrast to Ginger's glamour. It made her famous, but it also locked her inside a mold that followed her forever. "I don't regret playing Mary Ann," she once said. "I regret letting them decide who I should be." Her life became a loop of fan conventions, smiles, and the weight of an image too pure to grow old. Alan Hale Jr., the big-hearted skipper, paid his price in pain. During one storm scene, he fell hard, breaking his arm mid-shoot. Yet he kept going, smiling through agony, afraid to stop production and cost others their jobs. The audience laughed at his falls, never knowing every bruise was real. "If I'd known how much it would hurt, maybe I wouldn't have taken the role," he later said. But he never stopped, because he loved them all. The cast, the crew, the viewers. That was his tragedy, to give so much that it hurt. Russell Johnson, the professor, nearly lost his life filming a cliff scene. A fall from a wet set sent him crashing into the tank below, cutting his head open and nearly drowning. When he was pulled out bleeding, he realized something that stayed with him forever. Hollywood could replace him, but he could never replace his own life. And then came Jim Backus, the millionaire who was rich on screen and haunted off it. For years after the show ended, everyone wanted him to play the same pompous, laughing man in a white suit. It didn't matter that he had done serious work in dozens of films, that he had a deep love for real acting. Hollywood had decided who he was. Even when Parkinson struck, he joked in interviews, "I'm not sure who's richer, Howell or CBS, but I know it's not me." He laughed, but it wasn't funny anymore. And while fans adored the chemistry between Gilligan and Ginger, the kiss that everyone wanted never happened. It became the symbol of their real-life distance. Bob Denver secretly hoped it would happen, maybe giving him one moment to be remembered as something other than a fool. But Tina Louise refused, already tired of the role that had trapped her. That unfilmed kiss became the metaphor for both of them. Two people stuck between who they were and who the world forced them to be. Years later, Dawn Wells faced her own heartbreak when she was arrested in Idaho for marijuana possession. The world that once called her America's sweetheart now tore her apart for a mistake she swore wasn't hers. "If it weren't for Gilligan's Island, I'd just be another woman," she said. "But because of it, I can never be forgiven for being human." The world wanted Mary Ann to stay innocent forever, even as Dawn grew older and life grew harder. By 1967, the laughter stopped for real. The cast arrived at the studio expecting to film season 4, only to find a single note taped to the door. Gilligan's Island canceled. No goodbye episode, no closure, just silence. They stood in disbelief, the sets half finished, the minnows sitting abandoned. The dream was over. CBS had canceled them to keep Gunsmoke on air. Years later, Dawn Wells tearfully said, "We were left on the island for real this time." Each of them carried that loss differently. Alan Hale checked in on his friends, Tina Louise withdrew from it all, and Jim Backus sent one final postcard saying, "The island's still there in our memories." They had made millions laugh, yet none of them ever truly escaped the island. To the world, Gilligan's Island was a sunny paradise of fun and friendship. But to those who lived it, it became a memory that never stopped hurting. Bob Denver lost his name. Tina Louise lost her freedom. Dawn Wells lost her innocence. And Jim Backus lost himself to a role. They made us smile, but behind that laughter was a cost no one could see. So next time you hear that familiar theme song, ask yourself, are you laughing with them or at them? Because for the cast of Gilligan's Island, fame wasn't a rescue. It was a shipwreck they never escaped. Remember their story, share your thoughts in the comments, and if you love uncovering Hollywood's forgotten truths, subscribe to Hollywood Bulletin and press the bell icon so you never miss what really happened behind the laughter.